Good morning, students. In my previous session, already I completed 4 important properties from D block elements. Now we are going to start the another important properties, formation of complex compounds, or nothing but formation of coordination compounds. See, my dear students, transitional metals ions have maximum tendency to form complex compounds. So definitely uh, another important properties of D block elements is they are easily to form the D block elements easily to form the coordination compounds. So what is the reason? See, there are 3 reasons are here. Number 1 is the variable oxidation state. So D block elements are showing different kind of the oxidation state, variable oxidation state. That is also one of the reason they are easily to form the complex compounds. And second one is unpaired electrons in the d orbital. Already yesterday class I said this is a basical reason of all properties, unpaired electrons in the d orbital, and the second one is a variable oxidation state, and third important properties is transitional metals have smaller size and have high positive charge, smaller size. So here my dear students, complex compounds means all metals are here different kind of the metals are connected together. That's why transitional metals are smaller size and high positive charge. This is the most important point, my dear students, especially the formation of the complex compounds. Once again, variable oxidation state, unpaired electrons present in the d orbital. Third one is the transitional metal have smaller size. Smaller size means both two different kind of the metal, it can easily to mix it together. So that is the reason transitional metal have smaller size and a high positive charge. And fourth point is high charge density, because of the metals always has high charge density, positive charge density. So my dear students, in CBSE board level point of view, these points are very important. Why D block element can exist easily to the complex compound? Variable oxidation state, unpaired electrons in the d orbital, transitional metal have smaller size and a high positive charge, high charge density. And fifth important point is maximum tendency to accept the electrons, maximum tendency to accept the electron due to the unpaired electron in the d orbital. For example, for complex compound means two different compounds. So X is a one compound plus Y is a one compound. So in the X unpaired electrons are there, and Y compound is also unpaired electrons are there. So both of them is connected together accepting. So X is easily to accepting the Y. Y is easily accepting to the X because of the unpaired electrons present in the d orbital. So these are the important reasons for d block element can easily to form complex compounds. So here some examples are there. In this formation of complex, they form coordination covalent bond. Definitely important point, my dear students. In any one of the complex compound, definitely what kind of bonds are there? Coordinate covalent bond. It's nothing but dative bond. Coordinate covalent bonds are compulsory present in the complex compound, or otherwise coordination compound. That's why this compounds name is the coordinated compounds, because of every complex compound compulsory show the coordinate covalent bonds. So for example, here FeCN6 3 minus, FeCN6 4 minus, copper tetra ammonia copper 2 plus 2, hexa aqua copper plus 2. These are all are the examples of the coordination compounds. So my dear students, once again, in the formation of the coordination compound, there are 5 reasons are there. Variable oxidation state, if any one of the compounds showing definitely variable oxidation state, they are possible to the formation of complex compound. If unpaired electrons are present in the d orbital, definitely they are formation of the complex compound. And smaller size of metals atoms and high positive charge is there, definitely they are showing the complex compound. High charge density is present here, that metal ion definitely to show the complex compound. And maximum tendency to the accept the electron, that is also definitely to show the complex compound. See, ultimately my dear students, all complex compounds are definitely having the coordinated covalent bonds or nothing but dative bonds. Coordinated covalent bonds or dative bonds. What is the meaning of the dative bonds or coordinate covalent bonds or covalent bonds or ionic bonds? Next class we will discuss very clearly. So that is the important points of my dear students. So all complex compounds are definitely showing the coordinate covalent bonds. So how they are showing the especially transitional metal showing the coordination compounds, complex compounds means these are the reasons. So next one is this is the most important property of transitional metals, formation of alloys. Formation of alloys. See my dear students, what is the definitions of alloys? See, an alloy is a blend of metals prepared by the mixing the different components. Blend, it means common statement means the D block elements or transitional elements, they are easily to form the alloys. Alloys is nothing but may be defined as homogeneous mixtures of two or more metals. Homogeneous mixtures of two or more metals. For example, my dear students, Sira, gold is also alloy. Gold is also common ornament. Gold is also alloy because of what is the gold combination? Copper plus gold. So here gold, generally peoples are using gold ornaments, that is not 100% pure gold. The combination of the copper plus Rm. Copper plus Rm. So alloy is nothing but homogeneous mixtures of two or more metal combination. Homogeneous mixtures of two or more metals or combination. So what is the uses of alloys? Definitely if two metals are connected together, definitely it is restricted from the oxidation level. For example, you know, iron, pure iron, you keep it in outside of the atmosphere, generally in outside atmosphere. So what happen, within 2 or 3 months they are easily to affected with oxygen and their damage, it's nothing but rusting is formed. But iron connected with any other metal, the rusting nature is completely restricted. So that is the uses of the alloys. Alloys is nothing but it can easily to restricted the oxygen affected on the metals. So that's why my dear student, scientists are prepared the different kind of the alloys. So what is the alloys? Alloys may be defined as homogeneous mixtures of two or more metals. See students, here transitional elements have maximum tendency to form alloys due to these three reasons. Every property, my dear students, I mentioned clearly reason. That reasons are very important. Transitional elements has maximum tendency to form alloys due to partially filled d orbital, variable oxidation number, almost equivalent size, equal size, atomic size. These three reasons. So first one is a partially filled d orbital. It's nothing but unpaired electrons are present in the d orbital. See here, unpaired electrons present in the d orbital means, for example, copper plus gold. So copper has unpaired electrons. Similarly, gold also has unpaired electron, means they are easily to mix it together. That's why partially filled d orbital and variable oxidation state. And another important point is almost equivalent size. Because of d block elements almost similar sizes, that's why they are easily to mix it together. So my dear students, here important three reasons why D block element can easily to form the alloys means partially filled d orbital, variable oxidation number, and almost equivalent sizes. This is the most important points, especially in the board level, 1 mark questions or 2 mark questions, even 3 marks questions also. Now my question is, what are the major reasons the D block element can easily to form the alloys? Partially filled d orbital, variable oxidation states, and almost equivalent sizes. Now already I mentioned here different kind of the examples of alloys. This is the most important, especially NEET level as well as the JEE level. See now, bronze. So what is the combination of the bronze? You know that gold medal, bronze medals, or brass medals also, you know, silver medals also. So bronze is nothing but the combination of the copper plus tin, stannum. Sn means tin. So in the bronze, copper percentage is 75 to 90%. Tin is a 10 to 25%. This is the most important, especially the alloys examples, 100% important for NEET level as well as the JEE level. And brass, see here, in bronze point of view, copper plus tin. Brass point of view, copper plus zinc. It can easily to remember, nana. Brass means atomic number of the copper 29. See, nana, atomic number of the copper 29. Zinc atomic number 30. So here 29 plus 30 atomic number of the alloys are brass. So copper is 60 to 80% and zinc is 20 to 40%. So in the brass, copper is a maximum percentage, zinc is a minimum percentage. Clear ma? Bronze is nothing but copper plus tin, brass is nothing but copper plus zinc. And gunmetal combination, copper plus zinc plus tin, a stannum. So what is the ratio? 87 is to 3 is to 10 ratio. That is called gunmetal combination. German silver means copper plus zinc plus nickel combination, 2 is to 1 is to 1. And bell metal, normally bell sound is coming more sound. Bell metals, copper plus tin. Here 80% plus 20%. Don't confusion. Bronze 75 to 90% plus 10 to 25%. If 80% of the copper plus tin 20% means that is called bell metal. And nichrome, listen carefully. In the nichrome, Ni stands for nickel, chrome stands for chromium, okay, nickel plus iron. So especially nichrome, where is used? Resistance of electricity, it's nothing but bad conductor of the electricity. Nichrome is used as a bad conductor of electricity. So what are the metals combination of the nichrome? Nickel plus chromium. Here already sound is coming. Nichrome, nickel, chromium plus iron. So where is used the nichrome? Resistance of the electricity. Uh, all Nico. See here he also represented the metals name. All Nico. Aluminium, nickel and cobalt. That's three combination is called all Nico. This is also mostly used in the resistance of the electricity and other purpose. And type metals. See, Nana, most important, lead plus tin plus stibbium, SB, stibbium. Antimony, commonly name is antimony. Lead, stannum and stibbium. And here, my dear students, the most important commercial alloys, actually steel. Steel is the most important alloys in our human being day-to-day life. So what is the combination of the steel? Actually, listen, very, very important. Steel is the alloy, but the combination of metal plus non-metal. That is the most important, my dear students. Steel is the alloy. It is the combination of the metal plus non-metal. So iron plus carbon. Iron plus carbon. This is the steel. So now, my dear student, this steel connected with any other one more metal, that is called particular name of the steel. For example, vanadium steel. Vanadium steel means combination of iron plus carbon plus vanadium. So here vanadium steel is nothing but combination of iron plus carbon along with vanadium. So vanadium steel, vanadium percentage 0.2 to 1 percentage. Chromium steel means along with iron plus carbon, because of iron plus carbon is commonly steel. Chromium steel means with chromium. So iron plus carbon with chromium. Here chromium percent important. In the chromium steel, what is the percentage of chromium? 2 to 4 percentage. 2 to 4 percentage. Nickel steel, what is the percentage of the nickel in the nickel steel? 3 to 5 percentage along with the iron plus carbon. And manganese steel, manganese 10 to 18 percentage. And stainless steel, this is the most important. Stainless steel, generally it's used in the in our home. Stainless steel in cooking purpose. Stainless steel, chalk, some knife is are the stainless knife. So what is the percentage of the stainless steel? Chromium 12 to 14 percentage, nickel 2 to 4 percentage along with iron plus carbon. Tungsten steel, here tungsten wolfram, Latin name is a wolfram, and 10 to 20 percent is tungsten steel is along with iron plus carbon. And invar also one of the steel. Here nickel, only nickel with iron plus carbon. These are the important steels. And commercial alloys, this is now we are going to discussing commercial alloys. See, 14 percentage 14 karat gold. Carat is nothing but is representation of the alloy quality. 14% carat gold means 54% gold, 14 to 13% silver, 12 to 28% copper. These three combinations are called 14% 14 karat gold. Most important, 14 karat gold contains 54% gold, 14 to 30% silver, 12 to 28% copper, and 20% carat gold, 24% carat gold means only 100% of gold. 100% of gold, that is called 24 karat gold. So the purity of the gold is represented by the carat unit. So 24 karat gold means 100% pure gold only. There is no any other metals. And it's not suitable for the making of ornament golds, because of anyone can use 24% pure gold. They're easily to breakable because very soft. That's why, my dear students, in ornament golds they are using copper plus gold combination. So soldier, this next one is a soldier. Where is used the soldier? Generally electrical boards are using the soldier. Lead plus tin. Magnesium, aluminum combination. Magnesium, so magnesium is 10%, aluminum is the 90%. Duralumin, aluminum, manganese and copper. This is called duralumin. So 14%, 14 karat gold, silver, copper. 24 karat gold, 100%. Soldier, lead and tin. Magnesium, magnesium and aluminum. Aluminum, manganese plus copper. Another examples. Artificial gold. Copper 90%, and aluminum is a 10%. You know, my dear students, fool's gold, FeS2. Fool's gold means Fe iron plus sulfur combination is commonly known as a fool's gold. Generally, definitely fool's gold, it is look like as a gold, but it's not a gold. So that's called is a fool's gold, FeS2. Iron disulfide is commonly known as a fool's gold. Important bit, my dear students. Fool's gold means generally 10 rupees in children are purchasing this colorful gold color ornaments, mean that is called fool's gold. And last and final means Constantan, copper plus nickel combination. Okay, my dear students, these are the examples of different kind of the alloys. See here, one note is there. Alloys of mercury with metals are known as amalgam. This is the most important point, my dear students. Alloys of mercury with metals are known as the amalgam. Amalgam is nothing but is a mercury alloy. So zinc amalgam, sodium amalgam, copper amalgam, etc. So mercury connected with any metal, that's commonly known as the amalgam. Don't forget, my dear students, amalgam is nothing but alloys of mercury with metals, that is called amalgam. Zinc amalgam, sodium amalgam, copper amalgam. Okay, my dear students, this is the another important properties of the transitional metals. And next properties is catalytic property. This is also very important, my dear students. Catalytic property. So here transitional metals, they can act as a good catalyst. What is the catalyst? The ability of the increasing of rate of reaction in the chemical process. So catalyst is nothing but, for example, A plus B is the reactant, both of them together to form AB. See, listen carefully. A plus B is a reactant, they are converted into the product. Actually, this is a very slow chemical reaction. It means A plus B together to form the AB, it's a long time process. So you want immediately AB product. Just you added any one of the catalyst. So catalyst, what to do here? Increasing the rate of reaction. Catalyst is always increasing the rate of reaction. For example, A plus B connected together, AB formed within 10 minutes, but you added any one of the catalyst, this AB product coming within 2 minutes. So that is the reason catalysts are very useful to increasing of the rate of chemical reaction. My dear students, most of the D block metals are act as a good catalyst. So that is the most important. What is a catalyst uses? Catalyst are generally uses as a increasing of rate of chemical reaction. So why transitional metals ions it's act as a good catalyst? These are three reasons. See, Nana, transitional elements and their compounds exhibit catalytic properties. This is due to this reason, 4 reasons. Similar points. Variable oxidation state, free valency on their surface. Free valencies on their surface is nothing but, this is a most important point, my dear student, in catalytic property, greater surface area. If any compound has greater surface area, they are easily to act as a good catalytic nature. And partially filled d orbital, it's nothing but unpaired electrons. So my dear student, the why transitional metal act as a good catalytic properties means these 4 points are important. Variable oxidation state, free valency on their surface, greater surface area, partially filled d orbitals. Now we are going to discussing some important catalyst in the different purpose. So first one, Haber's method. This is the most important, my dear students. Haber's method is the preparation of ammonia. So very important. Ammonia preparation method is commonly known as the Haber's method. So what is the preparation of ammonia? 1 mole of nitrogen gas connected with 3 moles of hydrogen, it can easily to form the ammonia. So actually nitrogen, hydrogen, both of them is gases, and ammonia is also gases. This is a long process, very long time period, long time process. So nitrogen, hydrogen never connected each other easily. So that's why here two catalysts are very important. What is that catalyst? Iron plus molybdenum. Iron plus molybdenum, my dear students. In this ammonia preparation method, Haber's preparation method, iron act as a catalyst, molybdenum act as a promoter. That is the most important point, Nana. For example, already I said iron is nothing but catalyst. Catalyst means increasing of the rate of reaction. So why here added molybdenum? Molybdenum is nothing but promoter. What is a promoter uses? If catalysts are not working properly, promoter to give help to the catalyst. So for example, now in this process you can't use the molybdenum. So this chemical reaction completed within 20 minutes or 30 minutes. If you added molybdenum, this molybdenum give help to the iron, its catalyst, that chemical reaction completed within 10 minutes. So that is the most important, my dear student. Most of the chemical reaction catalyst is enough. Some chemical reaction catalyst is not working properly. The scientist added one more catalyst, that is called promoter. So promoter is always to give help to the catalyst, hence catalyst we act as a fast. So that is called, in the Haber's method, iron is the catalyst, molybdenum is the promoter. This is also alloy. What kind of alloy? Iron plus molybdenum alloy. So listen carefully, my dear students. In the preparation of ammonia, iron act as a catalyst, molybdenum act as a promoter. Promoter is always to give promoter is always help to give the energy of the catalyst. So for example, iron is not working properly means, my dear students, what happened? Promoter to give help to the iron, then iron is involved in the catalytic. So that is why in the Haber's method, iron is the catalyst, molybdenum is the promoter. It's a clear, my dear students. Next, contact process. This is the preparation of sulfuric acid. Sulfur trioxide reacted with water easily to form sulfuric acid in the presence of vanadium pentoxide. Catalyst here, vanadium pentoxide. Most important, my dear student. Vanadium pentoxide is a good catalyst. It is used in the preparation of the sulfuric acid. So Haber's method, catalyst are iron plus molybdenum. In the contact process is the preparation of sulfuric acid, vanadium pentoxide. And another important preparation method, Ostwald process, is the preparation of HNO3, nitric acid. Here platinum is used as a catalyst. Listen ma, in Haber's method, catalyst iron plus molybdenum. Contact process catalyst vanadium pentoxide, and Ostwald method catalyst is platinum. And my dear students, hydrogenation of oils. Generally oils are unsaturated compound. If added to hydrogen, they are easily converted into the fat, saturated fat. So for example, dalda preparation, vanaspati preparation, margarine preparation, these are all are the generally used the hydrogen gas with unsaturated of oil. Oils are unsaturated hydrocarbon, they are converted into the fat. Definitely hydrogen is required in the presence of nickel catalyst. This is the most important, my dear students. Unsaturated hydrocarbon converted into the saturated fat. These three catalysts are commonly used. Number one, nickel, especially in the hydrogenation of oils, platinum or palladium. See here, CH2 double bond CH2. It's a unsaturated hydrocarbon ethene reacted with the hydrogen. They are converted into alkane group. Alkane group. Now here nickel is act as a good catalyst. Most important point, my dear student, hydrogenation of oils. Hydrogenation of oils. What kind of the catalyst are used? Nickel catalyst are used. So oils are converted into fat. Dalda, vanaspati, margarine. Mostly nickel catalyst are used. So my question is, hydrogenation of oil, what catalyst are generally used? Means nickel catalyst are used. So which catalyst are used generally? Nickel catalyst. Actually unsaturated hydrocarbon converted into saturated hydrocarbons. Generally nickel, platinum, palladium are uses. And another important one, benzene whenever reacted with hydrogen peroxide to form the phenol, so ferrous sulfate FeSO4 is used as a catalyst. Important point. And dehydrogenation of alcohol. Dehydrogenation of alcohol. This information we will discuss in the alcohol chapter. Dehydrogenation of alcohol, generally copper catalyst are used. Vinyl polymerization, Ziegler-Natta catalyst are used. Already discussed in the high density polythene, high density preparation of high density polythene, Ziegler-Natta catalyst and triethyl alumina. Triethyl alumina is are used in the vinyl polymerization. And decomposition of KClO3, potassium chloride. Potassium chloride, see na, potassium chloride is decomposed in the presence of MnO2, manganese dioxide, to give pure oxygen. This is the first preparation of the oxygen in the laboratory. How to prepare the oxygen in the first time in the laboratory? Potassium chloride is decomposed in the presence of manganese dioxide, KCl plus oxygen is used. And another important one, Fe+3 catalyst is used as a reduction between iodine and the persulfate. So iodine plus persulfate, generally Fe+3 is used as a catalyst. So this is the most important, my dear student. Important points of formation of the catalyst. Haber's method, iron plus molybdenum in the preparation of the ammonia. And contact process, sulfuric acid preparation method is called contact process. SO3 plus CNN. How to prepare the contact process ni CNN? Actually, first of all, what happened here? Sulfur reacted with oxygen to form sulfur dioxide. First point. After that, sulfur dioxide again reacted with oxygen, sulfur trioxide. Here vanadium pentoxide here also used. After that, sulfur trioxide reacted with, listen, sulfur trioxide is reacted with water. Sulfur trioxide is reacted with sulfuric acid. So here doubt is, sir, now we are going to the preparation of sulfuric acid, but how these sulfuric acids are prepared? See, I will say simple example. In our home, listen carefully. In your home, your mother prepared curd. How your mother prepared the curd? Milk with combination of little bit percentage of curd. Milk plus curd. Then to prepare huge amount of the curd. Yes or no? So similarly, we want huge percentage of the sulfuric acid. Now what happened here? Sulfur trioxide added little percentage of sulfuric acid. This sulfuric acid is prepared in the laboratory. Very small quantity of sulfuric acid prepared in the laboratory. That is the how to prepare. Sulfur trioxide is reacted with water. Sulfur trioxide is reacted with water to form sulfuric acid. So this little bit sulfuric acid is added huge percentage of sulfur trioxide. Hence here what product is formed? H2S2O7. Oleum is formed. This oleum again reacted with water. Finally, huge percentage of sulfuric acid is formed. This is a contact process, Nana. How to, this is also important. We will discuss in the group 16th family. How to prepare the sulfuric acid? First, sulfur reacted with oxygen, sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is reacted with oxygen, sulfur trioxide. Here vanadium pentoxide is are used. The sulfur trioxide again reacted with a little bit percentage of sulfuric acid. That sulfuric acid is prepared in the laboratory, the combination of sulfur trioxide plus water. So now volume is formed. After volume is reacted with water, finally sulfuric acid. These four steps are very important in the contact process. That's why here vanadium pentoxide is are used. Here very funniest moment is, in the preparation of the sulfuric acid is added to the sulfur trioxide. That is a very funniest moment. So here a little bit sulfuric acid added to huge percentage of sulfur trioxide gas, hence volume is formed. This volume again reacted with water, ultimately sulfuric acid is formed. So again this information we will discuss in the group 16th family. Okay my dear students. So these are the Ostwald method preparation of HNO3, platinum, hydrogenation of oil, nickel, platinum, palladium, especially oil, hydrogenation of oils, nickel is used, and benzene reacted with hydrogen peroxide, FeSO4 is also used. These are all the best examples of the transitional metal used as a good catalytic. And last and final properties of D block elements is formation of interstitial compounds. Transitional element form interstitial compounds with smaller sized non-metal elements like hydrogen, carbon, boron, nitrogen, etc. The smaller size atom get entrapped in between the interstitial space of metal lattice. See Nana, now I am showing the metal surface. So this is molecule, metals molecule. This is one metal, this is one metal, this is one metal, and this is one metal, this is one metal, this is one metal. It molecules. This one molecule, another molecule. See, transitional metal, they are easily to form interstitial compound. What is the interstitial compound? See Nana, in transitional metal surface, molecule to molecule, some little bit gaps are there. See here, this gap, red color dark is a gap. So now one metal enter the metal surface to metal surface, a little bit gaps are there. That is called interstitial space. These metals whenever reacted with non-metals, the non-metal it can easily enter into the spaces, that is called interstitial spaces. So ultimately what happened, these metals whenever reacted with such this type of the non-metals, they are easily to form the interstitial compound. So interstitial compound does not changes the size because of, for example, this is a metal. Now hydrogen gas is enter into these metals. The hydrogen gas is filled in the space, interstitial space. So that's why they are completely filled in the space, but they are not changes their sizes. That is called interstitial compounds. So interstitial compound means generally the non-metal gases such as hydrogen, generally carbon, boron, nitrogen, it can easily enter into the interstitial spaces of the metal. So that's why they are easily to form the interstitial compound. So these interstitial compounds are generally non-stoichiometric in the nature. Non-stoichiometric means they are not equal. So for example, titanium carbide means titanium is the metal, carbon is a non-metal. So now here this two ratio is not a similar, is a non-stoichiometric portion. And Mn4n, Fe3H, VH, titanium H, these are all are the interstitial compound. My dear students, interstitial compound means in the metallic surface, molecule to molecule, in between the molecule, some little bit interstitial spaces are there. Whenever this metal reacted with this kind of the non-metals, that non-metal it can easily to mingle with, it can easily to enter into the interstitial space, hence the new products are formed, that is called interstitial compound. If non-metals are enter into the metallic surface, there does not changes the size. Why? Because already metal surface some little bit spaces are there. So the interstitial elements, it can easily enter into that space, free space. That's why it can easily to form the interstitial compound. That is the reason, my dear students. What is the reason the D block element can show easily to formation of interstitial compound? Means in between the molecules some spaces are there. That space is nothing but interstitial spaces. In these interstitial spaces, the non-metal, it can easily to entered. Hence, ultimately new compounds are formed. So here the smallest size element are held in interstitial space of the transition element by weak van der Waals forces of attraction. And another important point is the interstitial compound have essentially the same chemical properties as the parent metal, but they are differ in the physical property such as the density and the hardness. Actually, first of all, same chemical properties, there is no any different, but physical properties point of view is slightly different. This is the interstitial compounds. And another important point here, they have high melting points higher than the pure metals. High melting, for example, titanium is one kind of melting point, but is a titanium reacted with a hydrogen, titanium hydride is melting point is different. That is the reason, my dear, they have high melting point higher than those of the pure metal, titanium hydride melting point is higher than the pure titanium. So this is also important point. They are very hard. Some borides approaches to the diamonds in hardness. Most important point, my dear student. Ipo see here example. Titanium hydride, titanium boride. For example, titanium is reacted with boron, titanium boride is formed. For example, so this kind of the interstitial compound almost similar hardness of the diamond and graphite. That is the most important. They are very hard. Some borides approaches diamond in the hardness, and they retain metallic conductivity. So good metallic conductivity. They are chemically inert. Okay, my dear students. So successfully are completed entire the D block elements important properties, such as what are the important properties seen now? Just a minute. So what are the important properties? Electronic configuration, this is general properties. Electronic configuration, variable oxidation state, and magnetic behavior, color behavior, coordination compound behavior, catalytic properties, formation of alloys, interstitial compounds. So definitely in NEET level as well as a board level, these properties are very, very important. So okay, my dear students, I hope this video is very useful to every student. And do you have any doubt about these properties? Ask me in coming classes. And every student compulsory rewatch all videos carefully. Okay, my dear students. Next we'll start the new chapter from the D and F. Already D block element chapters is completed. The next class is F block elements. It's a very small, within completed 1 hour class, F block elements. Okay, my dear students. Okay.